Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching today's video. We are in our new house. We are slowly getting settled in. I feel like the unpacking is taking a lot longer than I thought it was going to, but we got all of the main rooms unpacked, like our bedroom, the baby's room, things like that. So today I just wanted to film out here. I feel like the sun is just kind of making an appearance as I'm talking. We have a lot of really beautiful natural light in this house. It did just snow, so I feel like the light reflecting off the snow might be washing me out a little bit, but I'll figure it out. I just thought it'd be nice to embrace the natural light a little bit more often, especially for makeup looks. So I definitely plan on doing that in 2022. Right now I'm just sitting on the floor hanging out with you because our house just isn't fully set up, but I just wanted to film just a casual laid back video, catch up with you guys. So today I'm filming the video where I react or answer your assumptions about me. I did this video back in 2019 when it was originally going around, which feels like a lifetime ago. So I thought it'd be fun to do an updated one. I've seen a couple of people that I follow do videos like this, and I just love watching it. I think they're really interesting. So I asked you guys on Instagram, what are your assumptions about me? You guys shared some, so I'm going to let you guys know which ones are true, which ones are false. Now, before we get into the assumptions, I do want to say thank you to today's video sponsor, which is New Mood. And this has come at the perfect time. It's funny because a lot of you left assumptions saying like you don't get stressed out very easily or you stay very calm in stressful situations. And I would like to believe that is me. I think that might have been me at one point, but ever since 2020, I feel like life has just been this crazy, stressful whirlwind, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate. It's just been one thing after another between like the pandemic and lockdown and just how that has affected our daily life to, starting and going through the adoption process to buying a house, and now we're selling our house. I feel like there have been a lot of stressful things going on, and honestly, I have a lot of trouble managing my stress. There are times where I cope with it fairly well, but I feel like over the past few years, I have not been managing it very well at all. So New Mood has been amazing. I've actually been using the program since January, and I've noticed such a difference in the way that I handle my stress and manage it day to day. The reason why New Mood jumped out at me is because it felt really doable. You can do it in less than 10 minutes a day, and the program basically teaches you how to cope with stress, and it teaches you the skills you need to manage that stress in the moment. So you can navigate the New Mood program at your own pace with the help of a coach, which is really helpful because you have someone to bounce ideas off of. I was talking to my coach about, different methods I've used in the past, what's worked for me, what hasn't. And if you miss a few days for whatever reason, your coach is there to check in with you. So you have accountability. Something that I appreciate about New Mood is that it's really just teaching me about my relationship with stress and anxious thoughts in general. So you can track your mood each day. And as you learn new skills and coping methods for how to tackle your stress each day, you can see how far you come. And you can kind of look back and see what you had going on that day and whether or not you took any steps to kind of work through that stress. So that keeps you accountable as well and just kind of gives you a baseline as to how you feel when you think you're feeling really stressed out. The program just gives you really practical coping methods when it comes to dealing with stress. So the first week was about just kind of taking 15 minutes to be off your phone and doing something relaxing and enjoyable, which might sound like common sense, but for a lot of us, it's not something that we're actively doing and putting into place. Stress is something that we all deal with, but I feel like the last few years have been particularly stressful for pretty much everyone as a whole. And if you're anything like me, you just might not be taking steps to actually work through that stress, so it's just building up. So New Mood is a great way to learn how to deal with that stress in a really healthy way. You can sign up for your free quiz at noom.com/AndreaM to start your mental wellness journey today. I'll put that information on the screen for you guys and in the description box below. But again, it's noom.com/AndreaM. So thanks again to New Mood for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so let's jump into the assumptions. I'll put them on the screen, but I'll just cross out your name just in case you don't want that in this video. So the first one is you want to quit YouTube and be a full-time stay-at-home mom. So this assumption is false. I love YouTube so much. I've been doing it for, I think, like 10 years at this point, which is so crazy. It started off as a hobby back before I feel like it really exploded, and I never thought that it would actually be my job, which is amazing. I love filming videos. I think it is so much fun. And if I ever, got another job, I would still do YouTube just for fun on the side. For me, it's just like the ideal scenario because I can work from home. My schedule is flexible, so I still get to spend a ton of time with my baby, of course. And I think, part of me would love to just be able to stay with him all day. I think stay-at-home moms are absolutely amazing. But for me, I've just always had an interest in working. So even if I wasn't doing YouTube, I would probably still be working in some capacity. I'm not sure exactly what I would do. Again, I'm really thankful that I get to actually be at home and have more of a flexible schedule, which is amazing. I know that's not always the case, although I know a lot of people are working from home more than ever these days. And it definitely has its challenges to work from home while having a baby, but I love it. I'm really, really thankful for it. I feel like I have the best of both worlds. So for me, I definitely don't want to quit YouTube anytime soon. I think it is so much fun. I love it. But even if I wasn't doing YouTube, I would still work in some capacity. I'm just not sure exactly what. I have some ideas, but I feel like for now, this is just the best case scenario. The next assumption says everything in your being is stopping you from spilling tea in the beauty community. This is an interesting one. I don't know that I have that much tea to spill, honestly, when it comes to the beauty community. I feel like, there's a lot that goes on in the beauty community in general. I just kind of, stay out of it. I feel like when it comes to community, I usually think of my subscribers as my community in general, but I do think it would be interesting if I was going to spill the tea, maybe on like what it's like working as a creator behind the scenes with different brands. I feel like over the years, I've been able to work with a lot of different brands, and it's so interesting to see how things have evolved and how it continues to change, especially now with like short form video and Instagram and TikTok. And I think there are some brands that are so amazing to work with. They want you to be transparent. They want you to truly speak about your experience with the product or, their company, which I love so much. But there are other brands that want you to like read word from word or read word for word from a script. There are other brands that don't want you to even disclose the sponsorship, which is obviously so shady. So I think it's really interesting to see the behind the scenes of everything that goes on. I know when it comes to like hearing tea, that's definitely what I would be more interested in rather than just hearing about like different creator drama as a whole, because I feel like when it comes to most of us in the beauty community, there just isn't a lot of drama. And I think that a lot of the drama tends to come from some of the brands behind the scenes. So for me, that's a video I would be interested in watching. The next one says, your family and siblings are all in professional fields and everyone is successful. So I actually have two sisters, for those of you that don't know. I am the oldest sister. Years ago, we did like a sister tag. I would love to have them on to do an updated one. I think that would be so much fun. But my youngest sister is a physician assistant and she is really successful. She's doing amazing. I think that she started like right in 2020 when things just got so crazy. So I'm sure her experience has been a little bit different than she was originally thinking, but she is really good at what she does. And then my other sister is a photographer and she is so talented as well. Her photos are beautiful. She's just really personable. So I feel like she just connects well with whoever she's taking photos of. So they're both really successful, super talented, and I'm proud of them for sure. The next one says, I assume you don't drink alcohol. So I don't really drink a lot of alcohol these days. I mean, before we had a baby, we would go out to dinner, or, if we were doing something fun, like spending the weekend in New York City, trying new restaurants, I usually would order a drink with dinner, just like a fun cocktail in general. I feel like that's always a really fun thing to do, but we've been out to dinner since we've had the baby, but the baby's usually with us. So it's not like your typical date night where you're going somewhere fun and ordering drinks. So for me, I really haven't drank very much lately over the past few months. I'm not like a big wine lover. I feel like I go through phases where I like it and then I don't. For me these days, I'm just not super into it. So I don't have anything against it. And I do drink on occasion, especially if we're doing something fun like dinner out or celebrating. But for me, I'm just not super big into it in general. A ton of you guys assumed that I never curse, I never swear. That is a false assumption, but I think it's because I never curse or swear in my YouTube videos. When I first started YouTube, I don't think that I really ever did curse in real life. And, these days I feel like sometimes there is like a specific time that just kind of calls for it for whatever reason, but I don't curse on YouTube. I'm not someone who just, curses in everyday conversation in general. And I feel like when it comes to YouTube, I know there are kids watching, there are people who watch my videos that don't want to hear that. So for me, it wouldn't really come naturally to like throw it in there as I'm talking about an eyeshadow palette. Also, I feel like I've always just treated YouTube very professionally. And I mean, I don't know about you. I know that workplaces are very different, but for me, it's not something that I would generally do in like a professional workplace setting. But, that's just me in general. It doesn't bother me when people do. I like watching a lot of creators who curse all the time in their YouTube videos. For me, I just don't. It just doesn't really fit in when I'm talking about makeup or anything like that. Also, now that we are parents, I'm sure we will be cutting back even more. I think it is so funny. Like, as someone who wasn't a parent, previously, when my nieces would say something that, they weren't necessarily supposed to say out in public. I just thought it was hilarious when I would look at my sister and she'd be like, I don't know where they heard that, because kids can just pick up on things and they just repeat it over and over. It's like they know when they're not supposed to say something. And I've always thought it was so funny, but I'm sure now that we're parents, if that happens with our kid, we will not think it's as funny. So I got a lot of assumptions about makeup. Like, you don't really wear a lot of makeup, but mostly just when you're making videos, or you wear eyeshadow every day, even now that you're a mom. So I love makeup. I wear makeup a lot. I feel like there are days where I skip makeup, probably like, 2 or 3 times a week maybe. But something that has changed since becoming a mom is that I have nailed down like a 10-minute makeup routine. I used to be like all or nothing when it came to makeup. I would just skip makeup completely, or I would do like full glam. And these days, sometimes I fall like right in between. If I want to wear makeup, but I don't have time to do like a full glam makeup look, I'll just do like a quick 10-minute makeup look. I might blend out like a quick foundation, apply eyebrow gel and mascara and maybe bronzer, and be good to go. So I do want to film like an updated 10-minute makeup look, because I've always said like I'm an all or nothing person when it comes to makeup, but I feel like that has changed a lot since becoming a mom, because sometimes I still want to wear makeup, but I just can't sit down and go like all out and spend an hour and a half on it. So I do wear makeup a lot of the time, but I feel like there are probably 2 to maybe 3 days each week when I don't, because I feel like it's nice to give your skin a break every once in a while too. The next assumption is you are unable to get pregnant or don't want to. So as far as I know, I am able to get pregnant. We did some basic testing when we were kind of going through our fertility journey, and I've talked about it a little bit on my channel, but we tried to get pregnant for a while and it just didn't happen. So we decided to go to the doctor, and we found out pretty early on that it was actually my husband who was dealing with male factor infertility. And the reason why I share this is because he has always been so open about it from the very beginning, and he doesn't mind me sharing this. And I think a lot of the time when it comes to, infertility, a lot of people are so quick to assume that it's the person with the uterus who has the issues, with fertility, but that's definitely not the case. If you read the statistics, there are a lot of people that deal with male factor infertility for a variety of reasons. And it's really crazy to me because it's actually very simple to test for that. And a lot of the time, the other testing can be very invasive for the person with the uterus. So I just wanted to throw that out there in case you are someone who is thinking about getting pregnant in the future, you're in the process of getting pregnant and it's just not working for whatever reason, and your doctor hasn't really looked into that. My doctor did. She was very, very thorough with her testing, like right from the beginning. But I just think it's really interesting. There's just so much shame and secrecy about fertility in general. And I love that people are finally a little bit more open about it. I feel like I see a lot of people talking about it on TikTok, and there's really nothing to be ashamed about. So I just wanted to throw it out there in case you are dealing with that too. Technically, I am able to get pregnant as long as everything kind of worked out or we were to pursue fertility treatments, but I don't have any interest in being pregnant right now. Another assumption is that you've always wanted to adopt. So we have talked about adoption since we started dating, like very early on in our relationship. While we were just talking about the future and growing our family, we always said that adoption was something that we were both interested in. And I think that we always assumed that we would adopt at some point in life. We just weren't sure when and how. And I think once we started looking into it a little bit more, we definitely decided that was the best option for us personally, just because it is something that we had always been passionate about from the beginning. So there are a lot of complexities when it comes to adoption. I definitely don't think it's for everyone. I think there are so many factors that go into each individual situation, which I think, being younger, we didn't really realize fully. And how could you realize the full extent of it? But it is something that we've always talked about just in general and always thought about. Okay, one more about kids. This one says, you love being a mama and want more. I do love being a mom. It is the best thing. I think I touched on this in my last assumptions video, but for a long time, we just weren't ready for kids. We weren't even sure for a little while if we wanted kids. We were just really happy with it being just the two of us. And I feel like, things changed, our priorities changed, and we were definitely interested in growing our family. And I'm so glad that we were able to. I think being a mom is the best. I'm so thankful that I get to be a mom. Again, I completely recognize that it's not for everyone, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think when you are childless, sometimes people can kind of shame you for that. And do not feel any shame if you have no interest in having children. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And I think that you can definitely have a completely fulfilling, happy life without children too. For me personally, I'm really thankful I get to experience it because it is something that we wanted and I do love it. We're not sure if we want to have more children. We've always kind of been on the fence about that. For a while we were like, we want lots. And some days I'm still like that. And then for a while we're like, one is great for so many reasons. So I don't know. We both grew up with siblings. Brady has 3 brothers. I have 2 sisters, and we love having siblings so, so much. I think it's amazing. And I think, that is one reason why we would love to have more children, but I'm not sure. We're just kind of on the fence for now. I feel like it's just such a hard decision. And then if you decide that you do want to grow your family, you're not sure, how long in between. It's been on our minds a little bit lately. I feel like more so now that we actually have a baby than before. So I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I feel like that's something we're still on the fence about. Okay, I just took a second to recharge my camera. I think I've been talking a little bit too much because I feel like the sun is going down and I talked so much that my battery died. So I want to answer a few more, but I'll try not to be here all day. So the next one is, you have a big extended family and you've been good friends with your siblings and cousins your whole life. So this is true. I do have a really big extended family. Like I said, I have 2 sisters and my sisters are my best friends. And I don't know if that was always the case. I feel like growing up, you fight a lot with your siblings, at least we did. But now that we are older, we are definitely really close. As far as extended family goes, my parents were both one of 7, so I have a ton of cousins. If I had to guess, I would say maybe like, I don't know, 40 or 50. A lot of my cousins have had kids and a lot of their kids are the same age as my other cousins. So I feel like we just group everyone together as cousins in general. I think back in 2019, before the pandemic, we got together with my dad's side of the family and we went to Disney like as a whole family with all of my cousins as adults. And it was so much fun. I feel like every time we're together, we just kind of pick up where we left off. And we don't live near all of them, which is sad. And I feel like as adults, you just don't see each other as often. But growing up, we were definitely close. I'm so thankful that I have such a large family. It was so much fun. And I just have the best memories of childhood, just playing with my cousins when we were younger. When we were teenagers, we hung out all the time. And I definitely have a really fun, large extended family that I'm thankful for. The next one is, you aren't much of a crier. I don't know. I feel like it comes and goes. I feel like in general, I don't cry a ton, but there are certain things that really get me. Like when I think about our dog Coco, I cry about him all the time. Like when we lost Coco last February, I cried for months. And then when that kind of like slowed down, I cried for like multiple times a week and I still cry about it. Like this February was 1 year since we lost him and I still cry about it. If I look at his photos too long, I cry. If I talk about it too long, I cry. If you don't know about Coco, we rescued a pug named Coco who was 12 years old back in August of 2020. And we only had him until February. It turns out he had a lot of health issues, which we did not realize initially. And we totally would have still rescued him. We kind of knew that came with the territory since he was 12. He was the best pug. And I have 2 other pugs. So, I obviously love them so much too, but he just had like such a special place in our hearts. He was such a sweet dog. He spent his whole life with his owner. And then she had to go to a nursing home and she obviously couldn't take him. So I just felt for him so much because I feel like his whole life got upended. So I'm really thankful that we had him and we were able to get him just like a couple of really good months. I feel like I can't talk about it or I'll cry. I get so sad when I see his picture, but I also feel really happy. I'm thankful we had him because he was just the best pug. I definitely want to rescue like another senior pug at some point, hopefully one day soon. I kind of because I looked for a long time until we found Coco and he was just the sweetest little old man. So I love him. But other than that, I feel like I don't cry a ton. But that is one thing that always gets me. This assumption says Brady was your first and only boyfriend. So this is a false assumption, but I mean, it's kind of close. We met when we were 18, so we definitely met young and we dated. We've basically spent our entire adult life together, which is kind of crazy. I did have a high school boyfriend before Brady that I dated for a while, and then we had just broken up pretty much like the summer before I went to college. And then college is where I met Brady. We just became friends really fast, and then we were best friends. We spent so much time together. We started dating, and then we dated for 4 years before we got married. We got married pretty young at 22, and I'm just really thankful that we were able to grow together, because I think sometimes when you meet so young, and I don't know, whether you get married or not, and you're together from such a young age, people change so much in their 20s. And I feel like you could easily just change and grow apart. But thankfully, we have changed and grown together in a good way. I feel like we push each other, we challenge each other. And because of that, we've just been able to kind of grow up together in a way. And I'm really thankful that we've been together so long. This one says you want to move, but you don't want to be far away from your family, so that's why you stay. That is definitely true. There are definitely benefits to living in the Northeast. I think the change of seasons is nice. I love that we're so close to like New York City and the beach. We're just a few hours, from Boston. We can kind of go anywhere on the coast, which is really convenient. We don't do that a whole lot these days. I feel like the appeal to having like New York City so close was something that was a little more, relevant before we had a baby, but I think it is still really nice. The area where we live is really beautiful. I'm so thankful to live here, but I think the main reason we do stay is because my family lives here, and I love to live near my family, and my sisters are here, my parents are here. We have just people we've known for a really long time, just like a good community here. So there is something to be said for that for sure, especially now that we have a baby. I think it would be so much fun to live somewhere just slightly warmer, because winter is forever long here. It is winter from like November through March, sometimes heading into April. So we just get like a very short, warm season. And the older I get, like the more I appreciate just like nice weather, because when it's cold, like today, I think it's like 20 degrees. I just don't want to spend a lot of time outside. And it kind of gets to you when you're just inside all the time. So I would love to move, just experience like a different place, a different city, different weather. But for me, it is obviously more beneficial that my family lives here. And we do like the area where we live. It's really beautiful, and I do like a lot of things about it. But one day, I think it would be nice to live somewhere a little warmer. This assumption says you seem super organized and always on top of everything. Someone else said you're really organized and a neat freak. So part of me is organized. I'm very organized when it comes to work. I feel like I have a calendar where I put everything in it. I stick to it. I meet my deadlines, my goals, and I feel like I am really organized in that aspect of my life. But I'm not so organized when it comes to life in general. Like my house, which you cannot see right now, is a little bit of a disaster. We did just move, so I feel like that's not always typical, but I do tend to be a little bit messy. I definitely wouldn't call myself a neat freak. I wish I was super organized. I think I'm organized in areas of my life where it does matter, like our calendar, our to-do list, our daily lives, our schedule, but not so organized when it comes to like my actual space. This one says you prefer drugstore makeup better than high-end makeup. I do. I just love the drugstore. I have since I've gotten into makeup. I feel like it is so much fun when you can find something at the drugstore that performs like a high-end product for a significantly less expensive price point. I think the drugstore has been doing such a good job over the past few years. They've come such a long way just in like the past 5 years. The only thing that I miss is that some brands are not cruelty-free, like L'Oreal, Maybelline. I do miss some of those brands, but in general, I think there are so many good options at the drugstore, and I just get excited when I find good, affordable products. This one says you don't use all of your makeup products at least one time a year. That is true. I feel like that's definitely true, because I'm in the process of decluttering my collection right now, and if I haven't used it since the last time I decluttered, then I declutter it and pass it along. So unfortunately, I don't get to use everything. I feel like that just kind of comes with the territory of reviewing makeup. I try really hard to strike a balance and keep my collection a little bit more manageable, but I do feel like at the same time, there are products that don't get used every year, which is, sad to say, but it is the reality. That is a true assumption. This assumption says you are an amazing cook. I am a terrible cook. I'm so bad at cooking. I feel like I could do it. Like when it comes to something like HelloFresh, that just makes it very easy. I can follow the directions, I can cook, but when it comes to like just making something or like trying something that's not laid out in a very easy to understand way, I have such a hard time. And I don't know, I just feel like I don't generally enjoy it unless it's laid out in a way like HelloFresh that breaks it down and makes the steps very easy. Because they already give you like all of the ingredients, I can do it. But if I have to get a recipe, go to the store, buy everything, come home, prep it and cook it, it just doesn't turn out well. It also tends to stress me out, which I feel like there's just enough stress in life. So unless it's something easy or something I know how to do, I don't generally enjoy it and I'm not great at it. But my husband is a really good cook and he loves it. So I leave it to him. It's so nice having someone that loves to cook and does a really good job, because I feel like for me, the pressure's off and he just does it, which is great. Okay, my battery is about to die, so I think that is my cue to get going. Thank you guys so much for watching. Also, thank you so much for all of your kind assumptions. You guys were way too nice to me, and I really appreciate you. You guys are the best, so thanks for hanging out with me. Again, thanks to New Mood for sponsoring today's video. I'm going to put a link in the description box below to noom.com/AndreaM so you guys can take your free quiz. But I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye.